Thank you very much. Hello, I'm happy to be here. I would like to present my talk about the artificial subjects. There is an area of philosophical research that is called personal ontology. It is developed by Erik Olson, and it originates in his book, What Are We? And Erik Olson suggests several questions about our own ontology. The most general question is, what are we? What kind of thing we are? What kind of thing that is a part of the furniture of the world? Then he suggests several questions that follow his way of reasoning. What we are made of, what kind of stuff we are made of, what matter of stuff we are made of. It means that if we are made of some kind of matter, what that matter is, and what parts we have. I suggest that we can ask the same questions about artificial subjects. What are they, what they are made of, what matter or stuff they are made of, and what parts do they have? I would like to discuss a very particular question about the artificial subjects in this presentation to limit the scope of my research. Suppose that there is a conscious artificial being. What do we mean by conscious artificial being? I suggest that we take a conscious artificial being, something that is a product of human engineering activity and that realizes some unified conscious states. And if there is a unified mental state that came into being due to some kind of intentional human engineering activity, is there a unified thing that is the subject of that mental state? This is a question about the artificial subjects that amounts to the question whether there are any artificial subjects, and if there are, what exactly are they? Let's take an example. Let's take a conventional artificial intelligence system, GPT, and let's ask a question. What is it? I believe that it is not easy to find a persuasive answer to this question. So would we like to say that it is a physical realization of the large linguistic model, large language model? I mean that when we face some subjects in the world, we usually find them as physical objects. There are other people whom we see and we can describe them as physical objects, and there are some probably other conscious animals, and they are also physical objects, and it would be natural to think that there is some physical object that is that subject, or there are some other options. We can say that it is a part of that physical system that is working on a particular task and doesn't interact with other parts of the physical system. I mean that there is some physical realization of all this artificial intelligence, and there is some crucial part of this thing. Like we can say that there is a human brain that is the realizer of our consciousness, and this is the person, and not like the whole human body. Or we can say that another option is that a human being is something that supervenes on the physical part, that I am a person that is not equivalent to the body but cannot exist without a body, and so on. I believe that it is quite clear what this option amounts to. But there is the fourth option that I want to attract your attention to. There is nothing at all. in the sense that there are elements and processes, or only processes, events, states, atoms, transistors, that are involved in some activity. There is a useful comparison. Those elements may be involved in joint activity called computing without composing a single thing. Just like the drops of water may be involved in raining without composing a single thing. When we say that there is a rain, we do not mean that there is a unified thing. It is composed by water drops. And the same may go on in an artificial intelligence. There are disorganized, non-united, the non-unified events that bring some useful result, and that's it. There is nothing unified in this case. So all those options are possible. I want to suggest some solution, some thoughts on all those problems. I said that I would like to discuss the unified states of consciousness. What are those? What are those states? What is the unity of consciousness? There are many variants. There are many options. There are several researchers, several scholars who write on this matter. Michael Tai is one of most eminent theorists. He suggests many types of the unity of consciousness. There is, for example, neurophysiological unity of consciousness. Conscious state may be said to be neurophysiologically unified if and only if they are realized in a single neural region or via a single neurological mechanism. That is a type of unity that is bad for my purpose, because it is clear that the processes in an artificial subject are realized in some particular region of a computer. Okay, that's quite clear, but it doesn't mean that that region constitutes a single thing. There are several options. I suggest only two options from Tai. Two different states of consciousness may be said to be subject unified if and only if they are undergone by the same mental subject. This type of unity also is not good for my purpose, because I do not presuppose that there is a subject. I want to move from the unity of consciousness to the subject. I want to answer the question, if there is a unified state of consciousness, who is the subject of that state? What thing is the subject of the state? That's why I cannot take in advance the fact that there is a subject. And there is another type of unity that is good for my purpose. This is the phenomenal unity. I take the characteristic of this type of unity from Chalmers and Bain. We can say that two conscious states are subsumptively phenomenally unified, or simply phenomenally unified. If there is something, it is like for a subject to be in both states simultaneously, that is, two states are phenomenally unified when they have a conjoined phenomenology, a phenomenology of having both states at once that subsumes the phenomenology of the individual states. So it is, if I experience a mental state A and I experience a mental state B, they are unified. If there is something what it's like for me to be both in the state A and in the state B. I want to make two things on this matter. First of all, I don't think that this type of unity is question begging. It refers to a subject, but I don't think that the reference to the subject here is essential. We can reformulate this type of unity without the reference to the subject. We can say that if this is the matter of case, that the states A and B are co-conscious, if they are phenomenally experienced as if there is something what it's like to be in both of those states, then those states are phenomenally unified. And this is a formulation that does not refer to any subject at all. And another issue is that Bain and Chalmers concentrate on the synchronic unity, that you simultaneously perceive or experience two mental states, but it is not necessary in fact. Phenomenologically, we can phenomenally unify two states that follow each other. They are co-experienced in the sense that they constitute a unified mental state that is prolonged in time. I believe that we do not have momentary conscious states. All our conscious states are, they have some duration, from several hundreds milliseconds to several seconds. They are phenomenally unified. But okay, let me return. And then I suggest such a claim that if there is a phenomenally unified conscious state, then there is a unified subject of the state. So I start with the claim that we can formulate the thesis of a phenomenal unity of consciousness without the reference to the subject, but it is, we can accept the thesis that that if there is a unified state, then there is a subject. There are some possibilities. There is some possible criticism of this claim, but I will not refer to it. I would like to give another option of the unity of consciousness. The thesis of phenomenal unity of consciousness refers to phenomenal consciousness, and I'm personally sympathetic to illusionism. I take phenomenal consciousness as an option in this presentation, but I personally do not believe that it is a part of the world, and that's why I personally would like to formulate the thesis of the unity of consciousness in a different way. It is the thesis of co-consciousness, that two mental states are experienced together, and I refer to a quotation from George Berkeley, 18th century Irish philosopher. I think that he gives a very nice formulation of this co-consciousness thesis in his three dialogues between Hylas and Philonos. There is such an exchange. Hylas says, "To me it seems that according to you, your own way of thinking and in consequence of your own principles, it should follow that you are only a system of floating ideas without any substance to support them." And Philonos, the spokesman of Berkeley, returns with the thesis of co-consciousness. "I know that I, one and the same self, perceive both colors and sounds, that a color cannot perceive a sound, nor a sound a color, that I am therefore one individual principle, distinct from color and sound, and for the same reason from all other sensible things and inert ideas." Well, Berkeley wants to say that he is distinct from the perceptions, meaning that he is a spirit. But what I need is the fact that he does not refer to phenomenality of experience. What is important is that I know that I both perceive that and I perceive that. I am conscious of the state A and I am conscious of the state B, and we can formulate this without reference to phenomenal consciousness at all. And we can take it as a principle that if conscious states A and B are co-conscious, then there is a unified subject of those states. Well, we can use both of those principles. It depends on what is your position on phenomenal consciousness and phenomenal unity of consciousness. And I suggest the principle of the consciousness realizer unity. If there is a phenomenally unified state of consciousness, or if there are conscious states A and B, then the substratum of those states is a single unified thing, the subject of those states. I know that I, one and the same self, perceive both colors and sounds. But what are those unified, single unified things? What is that substratum? To understand this, we need to introduce the concept of supervenience. This is a standard definition of supervenience from the Stanford Encyclopedia. A set of properties, A supervenes upon another set, B, just in case no two things can differ with respect to A properties without also differing with respect to their B properties. For my purposes, I modify the claim of supervenience because I need to refer, I do not want to refer to sets, for example. I do not presume that sets exist. Maybe there are no sets. And I need to adjust this definition for my purposes. I take supervenience star as something like this. Properties A1, A2, An that are instantiated by particulars x1, x2, xn supervene upon properties B1, B2, Bn that are instantiated by the same particulars, just in case no two groups of particulars x, y, xn and y1, yn can differ with respect to A properties without also differing with respect to their B properties. Virtually it is the same claim, but it explicitly refers to the to something that realizes those properties. And to answer the question about the essence of artificial subjects, I combine the supervenience star with the principle of consciousness realizer unity. This is not a simple this is not an automatic combination. This is a new principle. I mean that it does not come out automatically from the sum of those two principles, but I think that they can be combined in such a way. If there is a phenomenal unified state of consciousness, or if there are conscious states, co-conscious states A and B that supervenes star on particulars x1, x2, xn, then the substratum of those states is a single unified thing, the subject of it, that is composed of x1, x2, xn. What kind of thing is that substratum? I take a term from Galen-Strawson, the sesmet. A sesmet is a shortcut for the subject of experience, single mental thing. Galen-Strawson says several things about sesmets. For example, he claims that they are physical objects, as real as rabbits and atoms, so they are physical objects composed of parts. The subject of experience considered as something that is alive and present in consciousness at any given moment of consciousness and that cannot be said to exist at all when there is no experience or consciousness. So a sesmet exists as long as there is a conscious state. If there is a conscious state that durates 500 milliseconds, then there is a sesmet that exists only for 500 milliseconds. And when this conscious state fades away, when something new comes in its place, then, according to Galen-Strawson, the new sesmet appears. And the duration of a hiatus-free period of experience is the duration of the existence of the sesmet. Well, that's what I have already said, that the sesmet exists as long as the conscious states exist. Galen-Strawson says that we are sesmets. He believes that there is a new I every several hundred milliseconds. I don't agree with this. There are very good reasons to believe that I am not a new subject every second. For example, we know that we do not cease to exist when there is a hiatus in our consciousness. We know that all of us were fatty and we were newborns who may not have unified consciousness, and some of us will come to an unconscious state in the end of our life, and sometimes we sleep without dreaming, sometimes we lose our consciousness. So this is a common sense thesis that when I wake up, this is not new me. This is old good me waking up the new morning. So I believe that there are very good reasons to think that we are not sesmets, and the reasons for that are that we are organisms. We are natural. We are representatives of natural kind. There is this kind, Homo sapiens sapiens, and we are animals that are part of this kind. But it is not applicable to the artificial subjects. There are no good reasons to suppose that there is something more than sesmets in the case of artificial subjects. They are not animals. They are not a part of the natural kind. This is a very important point that we need to understand, that most certainly there are there is no such natural kind as artificial intelligence. It is a pragmatic kind that we define artificial intelligence as it is useful for us. It's like raining, or Olson has another example, locomotor. What is a locomotor? Anything that can move itself. And it is not a natural kind. Very many different things can move themselves. And that's why I come to this conclusion that we do not have good reasons to suppose that there is something more than sesmets in the case of artificial subjects. But on the other hand, it is guaranteed that if there are unified conscious states, that then there is at least a sesmet. So if there is a unified conscious state that is realized by an artificial, by some physical object that is the product of human engineering, then there is some unified thing composed of the parts of that object, that exists as long as the unified conscious state exists. And there are some practical implications of this view. Last summer, an article appeared on archive.org. Butlin and several other, many authors, maybe about 20 authors participated in that article, Consciousness in Artificial Intelligence, Insights from the Science of Consciousness. The authors try to do a very good thing. They want to apply the best theories of consciousness, the best scientific theories of consciousness to artificial intelligence. Okay, but their method is not persuasive. Their arguments are very problematic. They try to answer the question: do artificial intelligence systems satisfy the criteria of consciousness suggested by various scientific theories of consciousness? But it is already presupposed by those theories of consciousness that we are subjects. They take for granted that human beings are subjects, and they look for consciousness in the human subjects and formulate their criteria for consciousness that are applicable only to those things that are already subjects. And in the case of AI, we do not know whether there are subjects in those physical systems. And that's why we need to look for something different, as I think. We need to apply to the AI systems the criteria of the presence of diachronically unified conscious states. If you take the modern theories of consciousness, if you take the scientific theories of consciousness, they do not say, you will see that they do not say a lot about the diachronic unity of consciousness. They just say that if there is If there is a global workspace, then there is consciousness. Okay, what implications does it have for the diachronic unity? It is not clear at all. And this approach suggests some practical implications for the investigation of consciousness in artificial subjects. So first, what we need to do is to describe what is the realizer of a unified conscious state in the human case. Not just conscious state that is taken temporarily. We need to understand what is the realizer of a prolonged, diachronically unified conscious state. I think that it is an easy problem, as Chalmers says. That we have already done, or we will do it in nearest future. Then we formulate the criteria of presence of unified conscious state for the artificial subjects. So they must be functionally formulated. The artificial subjects are not biological subjects. We apply the criteria to a physical system, and we make such a conclusion. Any part of physical system that satisfies the criteria constitutes a sesmet, an artificial subject, as long as it satisfies them. This is the period of the existence of the artificial subject. So if you have a very short period of the unity of consciousness, then you must say that this artificial subject exists only for that period. If there is a new period of the unity of consciousness, like in a second or in 100 milliseconds after the first period, then you need to say that there is a new artificial subject, although it can be composed of the same particles, of the same matter. The same works for the human being. If someone dies and then the same matter is organized in a new body, this is a new person, although the first person and the second person share the same matter. Right? And the same works for the artificial subject. So the matter can be in place, but if the consciousness is, if there is a pause, if there is a gap in the unity of consciousness, then that matter, those particles constitute a new subject. And on the other hand, it is possible that artificial subjects can exist for a longer time than human beings. After all, this is a limitation of our brain, that we are conscious, there are non-hiatus conscious states that durate only for several hundred milliseconds or for seconds. In the case of AI, maybe it's possible that a conscious state that durates for minutes, for hours, for years are possible. And then we can say that in that case, artificial subject exists for that period. So I do not make any predictions in advance. So if we return to the original questions, what are artificial subjects? They are sesmets. That's the title of my presentation. What they are made of, what matter of stuff, well, they are material things. Those two questions do not make much sense in the case of artificial subjects. They are well applied to the human beings. They make some difference in the human case. And what parts do they have? They are constituted by the parts x1, xn, on which the unified conscious state supervenes star. This is my answer to this question. So, thank you for your attention. Thank you.
We have time for one or two questions.
Thank you for your presentation. Very interesting. Why do you need two or more experience to be unified? And then speak about subject of experience. You know, even one alone phenomenal experience has two aspects: the phenomenal aspect, redness, blueness, happiness, and the subjective aspect. It's for me-ness. Okay, I experienced redness. Okay, so it seems that one phenomenal experience is enough to talk about the subject of experience, even in AI.
I agree. Yeah, that's true. But why I talk about the two or more experience, because this is how the topic is represented in the literature on the unity of consciousness. And I can simply add it can be postulated that a subject that has one single prolonged mental state is trivially unified, that there is simply no question of unity. It is obvious that it is unified. So we can also apply this to such case, but it is also better to take the case of co-consciousness, because most certainly in the real case, the real human subjects and the real artificial subjects, they will have, and we have some co-instantiated mental states. Have you ever experienced a single mental state? I believe that I never have been in such a situation, right? So it is better to cover this case first of all. That's what I think.
Thank you very much. I doubt that even AI system could be sesmet, because it could be a subject of experience in Gallus Strausson's still how we need eye consciousness, and the AI does not have the eye consciousness. It could not be a subject.
Yes, right. That's a good point. But I do not take the whole theory of Gallus-Strausson. I take this particular concept. And I find this concept useful, so I do not need to construct any any kind of my own concept notion for this. And this, I take sesmet as a subject in the minimal sense. So I do not want to say that sesmets will be self-conscious. Maybe if we continue our reasoning, we can say that self-consciousness is necessary for being a subject like us. But still there are people who believe that self-consciousness is not necessary for being a subject as such. So I take this in a very broad sense, that at least subjects as those subjects that do not have self-consciousness are constituted in such a way that if you can pay attention to the fact that my theses are that they are conjunctory. That I always say that if we take that, then that follows. So it is possible to say that, for example, the subject of experience is soul. Some dualist can say this. Okay, I do not cover this option because I cannot cover all options in the one presentation. Yeah.
Thank you. Round of applause for Artem.
Thank you.
Thank you.